So for this video, I'm excited to deconstruct two photos in one. It's going to be this photo and this photo. I photographed this session in Madrid a couple weeks ago, and I actually got a ton of great photos that I plan to deconstruct in future posts, but I found, I could just go through the entire hour and a half of shooting linearly, but that gets a little tough to manage. I know a lot of people that watch these videos, especially feedback that I've gotten from my patrons, my long time supporting patrons, it's tough to find the time to sit down and watch an hour and a half long video. Podcast maybe, but something where you really have to pay attention to what I'm pointing out visually, it's tough. So I think these smaller bits of sections from my sessions is going to work a lot better. I am going to get through my camera settings. I'm going to start the behind the scenes footage in just a moment and kind of pause my way through just whatever insights I think are worth addressing. The big reason these two photos stick out to me is one, their natural tendency, these two, to laugh, and how I, basically shoot through those moments and kind of anticipate them when they're about to occur. And two, at least with this photo, the interesting framing and reflection that I got, so we can talk through it. I'm going to also show a lot of the outtakes, the actual unedited imported files in Lightroom. Just a note for anybody who maybe this is your first time watching a deconstruction of mine. One, go back and check out all my others. I've got 6 years worth of them to go through. But two, any images that you see imported into my Lightroom catalog do have my baseline preset applied, which is how I always look at my images. I never look at my images straight out of camera with the camera editing profiles applied. Even if my starting preset looks totally awful, I still start from there and improve it. But that's just so you're aware, when I'm going through the Lightroom section, most of the images that I'm going to be clicking through are not yet edited. So let's get this video going. Here we go. Okay, just to pause right away, I always do this. This is an amazingly beautiful bridge, but it's actually pretty typical for this part of Madrid. The couple that lives here shoots, they're both wedding photographers. Leaving the session, it was funny. They said they would not have chosen this as a place to do photos. It's just a normal park to them. For me, as an outsider, a lot of times it's so easy to see the potential in places that people walk through every single day. This one does seem kind of weird to me that a photographer wouldn't totally want to shoot here quite often, but I could also imagine that it's a bit of an obvious, it's such a distinct shape and bit of architecture. I don't know how many different ways you could photograph this before it would get tough to do something maybe different. I don't know. My immediate thought, and or I guess my second thought, I have a double exposure that was pretty cool. I'm going to deconstruct later. But my second thought to this was, how am I going to prism or somehow reflect the upper sort of tubular shape over me back into the frame to create a nice balanced composition? And you will watch me work towards that right now.
I have some here too, but this doesn't always turn out. It's sort of maybe it will, maybe. Sometimes I don't even realize it's not recording. But all right. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Leaning up. Yep. Can you kind of there we are. Perfect. Jeez.
One thing, I love what she was wearing. I just asked them to wear whatever they're comfortable in. She has a nice natural style. I like that he's in a darker gray. She's in a lighter gray. The droopiness of her sleeve, awesome. I just realized it kind of mirrored the shape of her hair a little bit, and you will hear me nudge for her to fix her hair, or in terms of sweeping it away so I can actually read her expression. I have to tell women that all the time, which makes sense. Hair is really long. And so that mirroring of her hair shape with the droopiness of her shirt, at least from this perspective, is why I will, in a moment, instruct her to put her hand up on the railing just to kind of create a little more dimension.
Janessa, sweep your hair a little bit so I can, yep, perfect. That's perfect. Everything you're doing is...
So he asked me, tell me what you want. Tell us what you want us to do. And that's an interesting, I found that an interesting request. There is certainly, because they're photographers, they probably would have like done literally anything I asked in terms of like jump around or like sweep her around. I don't know. My response to that is, you're doing exactly what I want. I don't have any go-to routine that I'm going to make people go through. I just don't. So many photographers are way better about having sort of a bullet point list of prompts or poses to go through. I find that incredibly uninspiring, and I really prefer to just wait and observe what people naturally surface in themselves. It keeps things so much more exciting for me as the photographer, having done this thousands of times now. And I know a lot of it is just a waiting game and being prepared to shoot through these moments as they occur. I just need that brief moment where they're both mirroring each other's expression, hopefully at the peak height of their laughter. And however we get to that, whether it's just me setting them up and then waiting, or me maybe poking fun at them in a unique way that I likely have never poked fun at any other couple, because I find things within them as I'm working with them to do that with. I'm never going to say, oh yeah, just give me your biggest laugh. Like give me that huge laugh. Like I'm just not going to. Some photographers might do that. Some photographers might have them play a game of some kind that always makes them laugh. I just cannot bring myself to do that, and I never have, and it's gotten me this far, so that must be okay.
I wouldn't change a thing. Just want to get a reflection. Jess, maybe take your left arm and kind of like lay it on the railing. So like, yep, exactly. And yeah, I love that.
That also, that she keeps looking directly at him and her hair is being hidden. Not great. I mean, all the photos I'm taking right now, except for maybe the brief one or two where face peeks through, like I'm not going to use. I'm just shooting just for fun, just to get like, whatever I want, or get them comfortable and thinking that there's some momentum and things are moving along. In fact, we can look at some of the pictures right now. Let's go to Lightroom and click through some of these. So just a few moments, but I'm just not getting nearly enough read on her face and her profile. There's the hair sweep, and then we're going to, but some of these are great. Like I love this, totally fine. So there's some nice moments in there. However, now that I've solved the problem of her droopy sleeve mirroring sort of the shape of her hair, hopefully that makes sense in how I'm describing that, because I've had her open her body up a little bit, she's a little more inclined, not a ton yet, but a little more inclined to turn and laugh a little more outward toward me, especially as I move forward. Another thing you're going to notice is I mention to them, do not move, or I say hold tight or something like that. I'm going to get a little closer to you. A lot of people, especially if you've given them a specific like area to be, or a really specific setup and how to interact, once you start moving, they relax, they disengage, they drop their arms, and they kind of think that the photo's done. So you need to preface like the fact that you might be coming closer and tell them to just keep doing what they're doing.
Sweep your hair again, sorry. And then just hold that, nuzzle in close. We're just going to wait on some background. Beautiful.
I'm not even sure if they can hear me.
And stay right there. I'm going to get really close to you. What did he say? It's making me laugh.
Boom, there's the moment. Done. Cool. So I don't know why I even kept shooting, because that was perfect. Maybe I was worried that I didn't get the focus or something. The face tracking probably was mostly fixating on him, and because she's closer to the camera and she had the biggest laugh, absolutely wanted her in focus. That's where all the energy was.
Okay. And then, Jess, like, if we do one of you looking like, right, yeah, exactly. And Jake, you keep looking down at her. That's
another thing. Once you start talking to people, they tend to look at you. So try and practice as much as you can to always be shooting through your own conversation as the photographer, talking to them. This is one amazing benefit of live view, particularly cameras that have the articulating screen the way Canon's has, or any of them that flip, at an extreme angle. You can maintain conversation without a giant camera blocking your face and your mouth. So people are way more inclined to turn and look at your direction, when you have something to say to them. Shoot through that. Even if you're not planning on keeping it or whatever, It's gold.
Perfect. So funny. Good, good, good. Beautiful. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Like, I told her something and she didn't get it, and she like
He tries to imitate me.
Yeah, I have no idea what was funny about that, but it's great. I mean, I love when people find their own things to make fun and laugh about. That's awesome. Okay, so let's go through a couple of the still images in Lightroom. You can actually see my camera settings. Oh, we're rocking 1/500th of a second, 1.2. Oh, look at this. So it's a 50 millimeter at f1.2. They are both, I don't know if that's the best one in terms of, they're both like more than acceptably sharp when I zoom in. Like the plane of focus, especially since their eyes are on the same plane essentially. Once she leans forward and gets away from him, like right around here, that changes a bit. He's still, in my opinion, acceptably sharp for the pulled back frame. Obviously, if you zoom in, like he's too soft. But that doesn't matter because all the energy's on her, and that's fine. That's where I want it. But just something to think about. Even at 1.2, when people are generally nuzzling really, really close, you rarely have to make a trade-off in terms of who's in focus or who's not. Here's one. Boom. She's definitely sharp and in focus, and he's still acceptably, totally fine. And you get all the benefits of the beautiful natural vignette of a 1.2, the color shift that enables, the editing that gets just simplified and is awesome. This is a horrible photo. What was I even doing here? But you can see my iPhone just provided a perfectly great way to reflect back in the rest of that tunnel. So let's go to the other photo, this one that I would like to talk about.
okay, I do want to try one with this split here. Let me figure out where to go. Can you stand right in that path? Yeah. Are you guys coming through?
Pretty straightforward. Try so hard to be aware of what you're interrupting in your surroundings. It's easy to get tunnel vision with your idea and focus on the couple and making them feel comfortable. Excessive politeness to all who are around you goes a long way, especially if you're like me and you're used to working in Washington, D.C., where there's tons of security guards.
Scooch a little closer to Jake. Yeah, perfect.
Not really. I was totally off.
No, he's from Hungary and she's from Canada. But they've lived here how long?
wow, you remembered.
Yeah, 3 years? 3 years. Sorry guys, we all need to scooch a little more.
Yeah.
He's been in Alicante, but yeah, in Spain.
I was totally off. Okay, perfect.
And when I have to make a big change where it's like starting to get awkward, like how far do we have to move? I just freely admit, like, oh my God, no, I was totally off, or oh my God, it's way better now that I see it, just so that they snap to and realize everything's fine, even though I totally messed up where I first had them stand.
Sorry, this is great. Okay, just like that, perfect.
Let's find this section of the shoot and go through some of the options here. Where is it? Here. So we started here. Basically, as soon as so this is sort of just playing around, way off on the crop. I really didn't want to lose too much of the top here. I love this complete sort of peak of the cylinder still being included. I backed up a little bit, which helped, but I was definitely starting to lose enough of them in terms of the size of them in the frame that I just couldn't. I mean, I guess in this one it's okay, but I just could not, in the final image, in its final form, keep the top of the thing realized. So it's okay. I leaned in more to them and more of the back thing being the core sort of geometric shape. Let's continue.
I'm still in silent mode with motion blur.
I have no idea what he said to make her laugh.
Too easy. Janessa, can you swing around and face out and kind of lean back into him?
So
does that make sense?
The photo is done. I mean, this photo this is it. That was the moment. The first laugh, shot through that, all good. Now I'm just changing up the pose because that happened so quickly. Also really like this pose. They fell into it beautifully. I will totally deliver this photo. Still a little annoyed I didn't get the full shape of that top cylinder. These are all the different things I'm thinking about and options that I try and give myself.
Yeah, exactly. There we are. Perfect. So good. Perfect. So good, guys. Done. As I destroy the...
Destroy the plant life is what I was... all the time when I'm shooting, I start saying something and words just stop forming in my brain. All the time. And I have no idea what the consequence of that is, other than I'm probably a little bit awkward and confusing to people sometimes. That's just the way it rolls. My camera settings for these, I guess they're probably the same. Yep. So this is a 1/500th of a second, f1.2, ISO 50. Again, tried and true, 50 millimeter. Let's take a look at this whole session and see the breakdown of focal lengths. I did 888 with the 50, 633 with the 24, and then I did about 200 here with the tilt shift. Looks like I used that 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Interesting session. There's a lot more video to go through and kind of dive in. So I'm really excited to share that in the future. As always, thank you so much for your attention. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments or directly on Patreon. That is where I am by far the most active. And for anybody over there, I truly I appreciate your support big time. So I'll be back soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.